Hello there, friends, and welcome back to the New Blocks. We've got our shiny new logo to debut today, and episode 6 here. Custody is the big topic we're talking about today. Kevin, welcome back to the show, buddy. How are you? You ready for another one of these episodes?
Yeah, I'm ready. I'm excited to talk about all the different ways that you can own crypto. I think this is one thing that sets crypto apart from sort of traditional finance and um, definitely throws people for a loop as they're getting into it.
Buddy, this
So,
is
yeah.
the thing. This is like crypto's big deal. We keep talking about ownership, and I hear all these crypto heads always mentioning the don't you want to take control of your own financial future? Don't you want to actually own it rather than a bank owning it and just giving you access to those numbers? And of course, it doesn't work exactly like that, but that's the extreme summarization of what we're going to talk about today, right? The actual ownership behind cryptocurrency and the nature of this whole decentralized beast in a more specific angle. So I'm excited, man. I'm excited.
Yeah, exactly. I'm really excited. I think the first thing to sort of understand when you're getting into crypto is that the concept of ownership is a bit of a gray subject. There's a lot of different ways to own crypto, and so a lot of time you'll hear the term custody as the specific. Like the type of ownership. So who actually is the custodian? Who holds the actual
Mhm.
physical crypto in a sense that there's always going to be one source of truth, and so um, just talking through. I think I want to spend this episode talking through the different sort of levels of ownership that exist in
Okay.
crypto.
And I think this is relevant based on recent GameStop conversations and this whole idea of short sales, the history behind that, this lag time before an order goes in. This idea of custody is relevant even with the stock market. And that's part of this AMC GameStop conversation. And that lag time of Robinhood closes orders or sales one way, who actually owns all these tickets that are still pending, even though Robinhood gives you credit right away. That's kind of just a confirmation on the screen. That's not necessarily where that ticket is, so to speak, as it's being processed along the way. So,
Yeah, and
yeah.
similarly, the concept of naked shorting, without going into too much detail in the uh, GameStop case, but like Melvin Capital and these other hedge funds were essentially capable of creating GameStop stock out of thin air and using like borrowing something that doesn't exist and selling it.
Hmm.
That's this concept of naked shorting, where there's no ownership of the actual stock that's occurring, and
Hmm.
yet it is still being sold onto the market to push sell pressure. So
Right.
this is again, it's a very foreign concept in crypto land, and one of the problems that we hope to solve.
Yeah, I guess
So
we're not dealing with derivatives yet, and I think that's a good thing.
yeah, yeah. So let's talk through. I've outlined this in sort of a language that we all understand. So in sort of like the league model, starting at the bronze league. This bronze league ownership in crypto would be something like an exchange where you sign up and you have the ability to buy Bitcoin or Ethereum or any of these other cryptocurrencies, but not actually withdraw it. So you don't actually end up owning, you don't have the ability to own the crypto that you're purchasing. You're essentially just gaining exposure to the price action of it.
Okay, so
Yeah.
this is stuff like Robinhood, like interface first, where you're just buying it kind of like a commodity, like a stock, not you don't have a wallet address that you have to deal with. You don't have to do any of the technical stuff. It's just I click buy Bitcoin, my portfolio shows however much Bitcoin I bought, and then I can sell it back to Robinhood only whenever I want to. It's just a stock through an exchange from the conceptual standpoint.
Yeah, that's correct. And I think some other companies have started to jump into this space. It's not clear exactly will be what different companies will be offering from the very beginning, but I
Hmm.
know Venmo and PayPal recently have announced that they are going to get into essentially allowing for purchasing of crypto. My assumption, given the existing model with sort of the like easier user experiences, things like Robinhood, it's sort of tailored to like the ability to speculate on it, and that's it. And so without knowing the particulars of what those other companies will offer, I can't necessarily say that they fit into the Bronze League just yet, but just know that this is like sort of the bottom tier of ownership, because you don't actually own the crypto. You own an IOU that you'll never actually be able to redeem for the actual underlying crypto.
Right. So next level up from that, I love how you skipped silver, by the way, in your little outline here. You just went right to gold tier ownership from bronze.
Yeah, we're going right to gold.
But this is the kind of stuff that functions similarly, but the custody exists 100% on the exchange. So like Coinbase is a good example of this. A little bit different from Robinhood.
Yeah, exactly. And so the next level up is this idea that now not only can you buy crypto, but you can withdraw it and use it. And you have the ability to take custody if you choose to. That being said, in the gold tier that I'm outlining, I think that the idea here is that you're still leaving all of your money on the exchange, and so they are technically the custodian and the people that have the actual ownership of the crypto. But there are some big companies out here now that have been doing it for a while. Coinbase is sort of the biggest in the US. Gemini is another really big one, and it's a good user experience, pretty easy to sign up.
When you say withdrawal, it's different from like when Robinhood, when you withdraw, your only option is to sell it for cash to Robinhood. That's the withdrawal mechanism. On Coinbase or Gemini, you can withdraw by saying, hey, I have X amount of Bitcoin here on your platform. I want to keep it as Bitcoin and send it to another Bitcoin wallet that I own over here on another exchange or wherever else. And you can withdraw it without having to turn it into cash. You can do something other than exclusively sell it back to Coinbase. Right.
Yeah,
that's the key difference.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly. And so what comes with this difference is that these companies need to essentially act as a bank, because now they hold custody and ownership of your assets, and they give you the ability to withdraw from them. So in order to meet sort of legal requirements for being this level of gold tier ownership, the companies need to meet what are known as KYC AML, or Know Your Customer Anti-Money Laundering laws. And essentially that means that you have to show them your ID when you're signing up. You need to think of this similar to the way that you would be setting up a bank account when you...
Right. They ask you questions like, dude, what are you doing with this? Where are you getting money from? What are we selling? Show me one of your products. There's obviously certain like marijuana businesses. Great example. You can't get a bank account in most places. So gambling, that's another big one. If you do anything with gambling, they won't give you a bank account. So
And I don't think the questions are as rigorous as what you described. I think it's essentially like, send us a picture with you holding your ID and today's date.
In this case, it's for taxes. With Coinbase, they're about to do an IPO. They're going to go public, and part of their whole thing is crypto accountability from a tax liability perspective. So they report everything, and hence they need your data to be able to report to the government your fat gains. So you can't. You can't not report if you're going through one of these, gold tier type exchanges. You got to report everything.
Yeah, and in general, like when I talk to people about tax implications in crypto, remember that even if you've withdrawn your crypto from an exchange, the concept of the blockchain as this extremely transparent, open platform for data means that this data will exist forever. So if your goal in moving your money into crypto is to hide from the tax person, that is not a great I think that's not a great game to play, because if at any point they ever gain the ability to sort of identify that this address is yours, that you're in big trouble. So pay your taxes. That's all.
Definitely.
So let's move on. I think the next level up, we'll call it the Platinum League, um, are just additional exchanges that allow you to, um, uh, have better functionality, purchase more cryptocurrencies. So Coinbase Pro is a common one. And Coinbase Pro, when you set up your Coinbase account, all you have to do is go to pro.coinbase.com or download the Coinbase Pro
Yeah.
app, and you have access to it already.
It
It's
used
sort
to
of
have a
like a
different
joint
name,
account.
and I don't remember what it
Yeah,
is.
I think it was
GDAP or something?
GDAX.
GDAX. That's it.
Yeah, they basically bought out another exchange that had more sort of expert use trading type
Oh, okay.
features and branded it as Coinbase Pro. One suggestion I often make to people is that Coinbase Pro, despite having a pretty similar experience setting up the account, it offers lower fees for trading. So if you set up your Coinbase account, sort of go through all of the process of sending your ID, you now also have access to Coinbase Pro, which has lower fees. There are some quality of life things over in vanilla Coinbase, things like recurring buys. If you wanted to always buy Bitcoin every week, every month, whatever, you can do that through vanilla Coinbase. You can't do that through Pro. But if you're sort of speculating in crypto and just sending one-off exchanges, then it's a good exchange. Other ones, Binance and Kraken. Binance is the largest crypto exchange in the world and has probably the most different cryptocurrencies that are supported by it.
Yeah, and one of the key things there is like there are the kind of the main cryptocurrencies that you can buy through Coinbase, like Ethereum, Bitcoin, Litecoin, a couple of others that they offer. And then obviously there are hundreds of other coins out there that you can buy on these more like crypto only exchanges like Binance, where first you have to have Bitcoin, then you use that Bitcoin to buy these other cryptocurrencies. So that's part of this tier of it's a little bit more advanced trading and access to stuff that is a layer deeper that you can't just buy on like Robinhood, for example.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So moving on, we have the Diamond League ownership. And this finally brings us to self custody. So it's this idea that now I can withdraw from the exchange and I'm going to hold this on my own wallet application. And so for the Diamond League, we'll say that you withdraw your funds and you send it to a software wallet. So a couple examples of those are like MetaMask. It's a Chrome extension, a Firefox extension as well that is supported by Mac, Linux, and PC. So that's become one of the most popular Ethereum wallets. One thing to note is that there are different types of wallets that support different types of cryptocurrencies. So MetaMask doesn't support Bitcoin because Bitcoin is on its own blockchain, on its own network. But there are other wallet apps that support. If your goal is just to be able to hold and own different cryptocurrencies, there are other ones. But like MetaMask sort of encompasses everything in the Ethereum universe, which is like almost everything.
Yeah.
Outside of go ahead.
It goes back to that idea of like the Ethereum public database, like world virtual computer thing. Everything that's built on top of that foundation speaks a common language, and hence you can make a wallet that shares that language in common. So that's pretty cool. But I think we need to be very clear here that this tier is where we switch from somebody else for the really owning the cryptocurrency, except for those moments where you choose to withdraw it. This is you being your own exchange for them. You are holding your own value.
Bank.
So you're the bank. You're the one that's fundamentally responsible for maintaining the integrity, security, and access to the seed phrase that you need to get access to this shit. So
and so a seed phrase is the first thing that you will run into when you're setting up MetaMask or any other software wallet. And it's this concept of when you send money to your crypto wallet, you're not actually sending anything to the device, whether it's your computer, your phone, whatever. Instead, on the blockchain, on this open public ledger, you are changing the ownership from this particular wallet address to this particular wallet address. And so with that concept, all your wallet is doing, it is securing what's called a private key. And the private key has access to make stake claim over the public address that is connected to your wallet. So when you move from an exchange to MetaMask, you're telling the blockchain that now this new address has ownership of the crypto, and your MetaMask software will hold on to the private key that actually can be used to sign transactions. And go ahead.
So it's three things then that you need. You have your address, that's like the wallet, that's kind of like the public thing everybody can see. Then you have your seed phrase, which is basically like your password that in theory only you know. And then you also have your private key as the third piece of verification, right? And
so the private key and the seed phrase, you can think of these things as the same. Essentially, what a seed phrase is an abstraction of a private key. So an actual private key is this long list of letters and numbers that's super hard to remember. If you copy and paste it, write it down wrong, you've lost access to all of your crypto. So instead, cryptographers and cryptocurrency software engineers have created this concept of a seed phrase. So it's either a 12 or 24 word set of English language words, like duck, boat, whatever. And you write down these 12 words or these 24 words, and that essentially gets translated to your private key in the wallet app. But that way, it's 12 words, easy enough for you to write down. It's a lot harder to screw up. And so this idea of a seed phrase is pretty important. There are some sort of rules around setting up your seed phrase. Typically, when you're starting out custodying your own crypto, you want to go through your setup process, pen and paper. You write down your seeds. Don't take a picture of it. The thought process here is that if at any point iCloud gets hacked again, Google Photos gets hacked again, all it takes is a software engineer to write a script that looks for an image that looks like a seed phrase, and you've lost money to all of your crypto. Again, this is sort of from now until forever. So if at one point you took a picture of your seed phrase, from now until forever, if iCloud ever gets hacked, you've
it's out there in the cache. Yeah, and this harkens back to this kind of recurring theme that we keep coming back to of ultimate security. There's no backdoor here. There's no centralized company you can call to get a do-over or to get something fixed if there's a mistake. So this is it's unhackable, which is great, but you have to be really careful about what you do with your seed phrase that gives you that access, because it's root access only. That's it. It's all or nothing. There's no no limitations if somebody has your seed phrase. They could just empty your wallet like that.
Yep, exactly. So it's worth taking it seriously. I would say worth spending a little bit of time looking up best practices for custody.
Yeah, this is the level of wallet where we start talking about kind of advanced user kind of ownership. This is definitely not beginner stuff. This is I'm thinking about putting 50% of my life savings into Bitcoin as a store of value, and I want to leave it there as an investment. And I don't trust any of these exchanges, or I don't trust no banks. Then this is for you. That's kind of the tier that we're talking about. So
and it's a trust thing, and it's also, when it comes to the Ethereum network, it's like really the ability to start to actually use the crypto, because everything up until Diamond League has been pure speculation on the price of crypto. Once you've entered Diamond League, you now have the ability to start to use decentralized finance. So you can go to websites like Uniswap, which is a purely decentralized exchange, and you can convert your Ether into any other cryptocurrency in a way that doesn't involve a third party in the middle, the way that Binance does. and you can go to decentralized borrowing and lending protocols and borrow money off of your ether. So you can, you know, participate in a lossless lottery where all of the proceeds come from just interest on the payments that exist in there. And when you lose, you don't actually lose any money. You just take your money back and go home. So this is sort of the beginning of like where you can actually do interesting things in crypto. And so it's definitely the a separating point though between, you know, pure speculation and actual usage.
Right. So the level after this is same concept, but even more security, right? Our master league here.
Yeah. Yeah. So at this point now we have entered into, I have self custody. I have the ability to use my crypto, do interesting things with it. And now I really want to hone in on the security aspect of it. So in crypto, there is what's called hardware wallets, which is a physical device that you can buy. This is a Trezor. I'm sorry. This is a ledger that I have set up. Another company that makes these is called Trezor. And essentially, it is a physical device that holds the private keys and is built to be incompatible with, you know, access to the internet. Your MetaMask is a Chrome extension. It sits right alongside every other part of the internet, and if MetaMask gets hacked, or if you know, your browser gets hacked, your computer gets hacked, there are a few different ways that security can break down. And this concept of a hardware wallet means that now someone physically has to have this device in order to spend my crypto. And so,
But what happens if you lose that fucking thing, dude?
so this goes back to the seed phrase. So I have my seed phrase written down. If I throw this, you know, off a bridge, I can go buy another one, type my seed phrase into this new one, and I have all of my funds again. So seed phrase is the source of truth. And that is what can allow you to recreate your wallet at any point.
I see. Okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
So yeah, it's sort of like designed to be as secure a way to hold crypto as possible. And so I think that it's sort of a new field. You know, Ledger just got hacked recently. It's worth noting that like their hack has nothing to do with the hardware itself. They had a marketing database where when you sign up, they write down your information, and like that data leaked. But so far, there hasn't really been much in terms of like vulnerabilities to hardware wallets. Again, I think there was some other at like a DevCon convention, there was like some work that's being done to potentially require. It's not worth going into, but like at this point, this is the most secure way that you can.
Well, it makes sense, right? It's offline, so it's hard to get access to. And I think that the thing you keep mentioning, MetaMask, and I think the idea of these like digital wallets, right? You're looking at a hardware wallet that he's holding in his hand. These digital wallets like MetaMask, they're just as secure in theory in terms of cryptography. It's just this idea that your browser has a lot of touch points with the internet. Think about, you know, your browser might be wearing a condom, but it's out there getting frisky with all these other apps, all these other things that are trying to mess with it. So you're reliant on all of these other services to be secure. But like keyloggers, for example, that's the kind of stuff that can get pretty scary when you're interfacing with this digital wallet. That's not really a threat for something like this hardware wallet where a keylogger can't get to it. Somebody has to come physically steal it from you. And I guess that's a whole nother, you know, set of parameters, put it in a safe or whatever the hell you do. But even beyond,
we'll get into you know, the risk profile as well. Like this is obviously a risk, right? It's like anything else. There's different risks for different ways of holding your crypto.
Right. So what do we got next though? What's the level beyond this? Because I know you got something.
Yeah, so finally, the Grandmaster League is essentially sort of a combination of everything that we've learned so far. It's like acknowledging that, you know, holding 100% of your crypto in an exchange has a certain set of risks. Holding all of your crypto in self-custody has a certain set of risks. Having, you know, one wallet versus 10 wallets and spreading your crypto out has different sets of risks. So it's a combination of sort of everything that we've learned, and it's also the introduction toward where the industry is going, which is this concept of social recovery.
Hmm.
And so social recovery is an alternative to the seed phrase. So it's this idea that instead of a single source of truth, I can break my the private key into many pieces, and I can
It's like
set
a
up a
Horcrux.
system. Yeah, exactly. It's like a Horcrux, and I can set up a system where you know 3 out of 5 of these pieces can restore my wallet. And so one example of this is Argent Wallet. It's a mobile app that lets you do it lets you set up what are called guardians in their case. And you start out with access to your email and phone number. That's guardian number one. If you don't add any others and your email and your phone number get hacked, you're out of your money.
Mm-hmm.
But you can create new guardians. So I then have access to add a couple hardware wallets as like access to those seed phrases can help me recover access to my Argent. I can also add family members to vouch for me and say that, okay, this is like Kevin lost his wallet. Let's say a sibling or a parent, whatever, can then go ahead and be one of my points of one of my Horcrux pieces. And so this concept, like anything else, is sort of like still early days in crypto. So Argent Wallet exists. Another example of this concept, this is oftentimes referred to as like a multi-signature wallet. Gnosis Safe, it's Gnosis Safe, is one that's used a lot for people that like teams that need to have joint custody over crypto. So you can set it up to have access split amongst n number of parties. Okay. So yeah, it's just this like realization that we don't need to necessarily die on the sword of like you have to custody 100% of your crypto by yourself. And like even if that's your grandmother, like she needs to write that seed phrase down.
We need some backup plans. So that makes sense. Ways that you can pretty securely verify across multiple data points that are individually sort of hard to verify. I think that's pretty cool. So cool. I guess to kind of wrap this discussion up, a good angle is where do you fit in, right? How do I know which league is for me? Am I a Coinbase kind of girl? Am I a Kraken kind of girl? How does one decide, Kevin?
Yeah, and it's really up to your own set of like risk tolerances. So I was saying how exchanges have risks. The first crypto exchange ever was Mt. Gox and MT Gox. It started out as a Magic the Gathering online exchange, and it sort of turned into the first Bitcoin exchange. And it turned out to be one of the largest hacks in crypto history, because all ownership of the Bitcoin was centralized to the exchange, the hacker just walked away with everyone's money. And this has happened a lot in crypto, to different exchanges, generally smaller, where it's a centralized point of failure. And since then, exchanges like Coinbase have gone out of their way to ensure the crypto that exists on there, and there are like different improvements to those sort of assurances that have increased over time. But like anything else, there is the sort of like a set of different risks that exist in an exchange world. In the physical world, your house can catch fire. Someone can come to your house with a $5 wrench and ask you for your crypto politely. Flooding can destroy the paper that you wrote it on. So there's loss. User error, mistakes are really easy to make in this field. So like if you don't feel comfortable doing a particular custody solution, like that's okay, and you don't have to go for the Grandmaster League all at the beginning.
Right. I think that's the risk management is twofold, where yes, centralizing on exchanges is risky compared to the risk of owning it by yourself, but there's more user error tolerance on exchanges because they're built with a user interface. They're kind of designed to emulate a little more what you would expect from a stock exchange or a bank or what have you. So there's less risk from a user input kind of standpoint using something in the bronze or gold tier compared to like the Grandmaster League, where if you mess up, it's 100% on you, and it's pretty easy just to be one character off and make a really big mistake. So yeah, it's definitely a question for individual progress on this crypto journey. That's for sure. And there's no shame with starting on Coinbase. That I bought my first crypto on Coinbase, man.
Yeah,
It was all right.
yeah,
It's fine. Still got it. Still there. Good.
yeah. I mean,
Doing all right.
Everyone's going to be at a different spot, and it doesn't always make sense to have all your eggs in one basket. You can
True.
leave some on an exchange, leave some in a hardware wallet, put some in a software wallet. Doesn't matter. Let's get to the lightning round,
dude. Let's do it. Absolutely. So how about this phrase? Not your keys, not your crypto. I hear crypto heads saying that a lot. What are we getting at there?
Yeah, it's sort of how we started this episode off. It's this reminder that when a bank owns your money or a crypto exchange owns your money, it's not technically your money. They have an IOU, and there's a legal system built around banks that says what they can and can't do with your money. But historically, it's worth remembering that when people centralize wealth in one way or another, it can oftentimes be used in ways that are not always intended. So 2008 financial crisis is a good example here, where banks, having total access to everyone's funds, have the ability to leverage the housing market to the extreme and collapse the global economy in the process. So I think it's the phrase "not your keys, not your crypto" refers to the private keys that you're holding on to. It's this idea that having custody of crypto spread out to the entire world instead of centralizing into these large institutional players is sort of a better design from a security perspective.
So it's like an anti-exchange rhetoric a little bit of like, if we just all own crypto and it's all sitting on exchanges, we're really not in a better position than if we're all owning it individually. That's kind of the point of the whole thing that we're doing here. Okay, yeah, exactly. I'm with you.
So can I insure crypto in my custody? What sort of insurance exists in the crypto world?
Yeah, so this is a tough one. Again, going back to that ultimate security, generally no is going to be your answer. There's no FDIC, nothing like that, and I don't think you can get anything akin to like homeowners assurance or something like that, like you can with a lot of your traditional assets. And I imagine the reason for that is because this is cutting edge technology. Insurance companies don't quite know how to price it or process the risk because it's so new and individualistic based on your knowledge and what you're trying to do with the crypto. So it's just not something a lot of places have touched yet. I'm sure there are some decentralized type insurances that exist. I couldn't name one off the top of my head. That's also some very new kind of cutting edge stuff. But that might only apply to like very specific smart contracts within like the Ethereum network. There might be insurances baked into a smart contract if something goes wrong or some other extreme scenario happens. But generally speaking, no, not by conventional terms. I don't think you can really get this stuff insured.
Yeah, totally.
All right. Cold wallet. What does this mean? This is another term that I hear a lot. What's the difference between a cold wallet and a hot wallet?
Yeah, so it comes from the terminology used by like data hosting providers. You'll hear from like Amazon and DigitalOcean and stuff. So the concept between hot and cold is hot is something that is used frequently. So in the case of a crypto wallet, maybe it's like you set up your MetaMask. Maybe you put less money in there. That's sort of your play money. That's what you're going to use to interact with DeFi, with decentralized finance. And it's sort of, you could think of it like a checking account in a sense. A cold wallet, on the other hand, you can think maybe more so in terms of a saving. Maybe it's something you leave on a hardware wallet. Maybe it's just money that you're sort of not anticipating touching and kind of just like using this more infrequently. There's not a sort of distinction between the two. It's not like you have to decide what a wallet will be when you're setting it up, but it's more of a kind of just terminology difference.
Okay, gotcha.
Yep. And so, final question: what happens when you die in life
Well,
and in crypto?
a big question and an easier to answer question. No, it's not great for crypto. You really need to have a plan in place in terms of a will or a safe or some means of access so that people can get to your crypto. This has happened before, especially when crypto was very new. I mean, people can pass away suddenly. So if you're just buying crypto or you were mining it and it's in some cold wallet somewhere and it's just sitting there in the freezer wrapped up in an old ice cream carton and it's labeled, with something weird, do not toss or whatever. You need to know how to access that because there is no back door. This ain't Facebook. This ain't Chase. You can't just call up and say, hey, grandpa's gone. We need access to this account so that we can pay for his funeral. There's nobody to call for Bitcoin. It's just there. Now, there might be some exceptions here, like for Coinbase, for example, if you can somehow prove through a death certificate. I don't know what their process is like, but that is one benefit to things being a little more centralized, that they could make an executive call in theory to release funds if you could prove it without a shadow of a doubt. But that's specific to individual exchanges, and generally speaking, you're not going to have an option when it comes to crypto.
Yeah, and crypto inheritance is like a known problem space that exists. So there are some projects, I haven't looked too closely into them, but Safe Haven and Trustverse sound like they're trying to work on more decentralized solutions here.
Okay.
But in the meantime, writing up just quick instructions for a loved one is kind of all you need. Preferably, it can get as complicated as you want. You could set it up so that like they can only follow these instructions after you've passed. Maybe that's like through safety deposit box at a bank, whatever. Like you can kind of look into different solutions that exist, but
you got to think about it if you're going to go down that route. But there you go, Kevin. Another 37 minutes has gone by deeper into the cryptocurrency world. But custody is a big one, and I'm glad we did a whole episode just on this, and hopefully you understand a little bit more the spectrum that exists for cryptocurrency ownership from offline wallets to online exchanges. Kevin, it's always a privilege, my friend. Folks, make sure you follow us anywhere that you'd find a podcast: Spotify, iTunes, and of course here on YouTube. Just type the New Blocks in and you'll find us. We'll have some more branding coming up in the future with this new logo, but thank you so much for joining us so far. We'll see you next time.
See ya.